Feeling pretty good, right now. I had a successful week of practice. Guys used to the cold, ready to go. Didn't complain a lot during the week and ready for this game.
Corey, you added Ray Williams and Corey Hucklock to the 46, a couple of veterans that haven't played in a while. Can you explain that move? Or
It's one of those things to, Brendan, added those guys or whatever, and we had a conversation about it. They're guys that's a big part of what we've done and a big part of the reason why we're here. So it was just one of those things to give those guys, give them one bump up on the roster.
Is there any chance Ray Dress is replaced?
No. No.
Is that just to give them the cup perks?
Yeah, well, it's one of those things where Ray is, like I said, a huge part of where we are. A huge part, and he's done his part, and he's continuing to do his part even though he's down in the field.
Is there relief that this week is finally over and it's game time for him?
It hasn't been bad. The biggest adjustment for myself is just the scheduling. Just like RP just called me because I was halfway home. I forgot about this press conference. So that's the biggest thing. It's all the extras. Other than that, it's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a championship week. We've enjoyed it. The players have enjoyed it. And, we're ready to play the game because that's what everyone's waiting on.
What is your sense of the extent that they've enjoyed it and the extent that they've managed to succeed in staying focused and kind of away from it?
Well, the biggest thing, other than Darren escaping to Ryderville, as long as it wasn't after curfew, and if it was, we'll talk later. No, the guys, I think they've enjoyed it. Their families are in town. They've enjoyed the process going through it. There's a lot of guys, this is their first Grey Cup, and, for all, this is their first Grey Cup here. So the guys have enjoyed it, and I think, like I said, they've done a good job. They've been very focused in practice. They've been very focused in the meetings, and a lot of attention to detail. So I'm very pleased to really their mindsets for this game.
Coach, your defense, it was sort of built this year. You added a lot of new parts. I don't want to say concerned, but did it show how that they were able to mash together? Sometimes it takes a while for something like that to work. Were you, I don't want to say surprised, but obviously pleased the way they managed to work together?
Well, one of the things when we sat down in the off season is I can remember talking to Brendan and talking to Richie. I said, I want a championship defense. I said, that's what I believe will get us thus far. And I don't want the pressure on the offense. And the offense has done a phenomenal job this year. But then we have to have a championship defense. And here we are in the championship game. And I said, in order to do that, you got to have the biggest thing is linebackers and guys with tough mindsets. So what we did is we went through, it was guys that I didn't even know, guys like Weldon and Rod Williams, but we looked through and we combed through enough guys to say we got to have guys with tough mindsets who fit the bill of championship defensive type players. So I think when you look at it, it's not as hard as offense on defense. It's not so much about chemistry. It's just about guys having a don't quit attitude, and that's what the guys on defense have.
Corey, what thoughts and feelings are going through your head more than 24 hours before?
You know what? The biggest thing is I can honestly tell you that, there's a lot of peace right now, like I said, because the biggest pressures and and not so much the pressure, but, going against the doubts and all those different things, that was leading up to getting into the playoffs, leading, for the season. Right now, it's about enjoying this moment. And what I mean by that is the football team's ready to go. This game will be played between two teams who are ready to play championship football. And it's just going to be a great football game. The atmosphere is the added to it, but at the end of the day, it's just another football game to where we got to be ready to play, and we got to be ready to play for a full 60 minutes.
Corey, what kind of game are you anticipating tomorrow? Are you expecting a 4-3 slugfest or a 50-40 shootout, 1,000-yard passing?
You know what? It depends on what the weather. That's the biggest question. The biggest thing, I can tell you exactly what the weather, I know what it says it's supposed to be, but it usually changes here. I'm just going to tell you it's going to be a good game. I'll keep my thoughts on that one, but I believe it's going to be a good game.
Did you get on the other side of downtown?
Say it again.
Did you get on the other side of downtown?
Terry, you're hogging on the questions. Someone else.
Corey, I know this is the least of your worries, but what is in store for Henry Burris tomorrow, and how much, do you encourage the fans to be so involved?
It's not at least, it's not a worry, but like I said, I hope they get after Henry pretty good. It's exciting. Those are the things that, even though we're concentrating on the game, we still love hearing that because, Henry's a tough individual, but he is human. And to have that many people screaming your name in a negative manner, hopefully it doesn't bring out the good Hank. That's all I ask is don't get him too fired up. But, other than that, you know, for Henry, it's going to be packed. It's going to be excited. They're going to be screaming his name. And I think those are the things that will be remembered about this Grey Cup, you know. And there's always going to be something when you look back years from now, you know, they'll talk about the chanting of the Henry. You know, they'll talk about the play of Darian Durant, Corey Sheets, all those guys. That's what's going to make this a very memorable Grey Cup.
Some of the things we focus on are your preparation, number one. So making sure that you spend the time, paying the price with your coaches in the meetings, and off time to make sure that you are fully prepared with your assignments and know that you know what to do come game time. So we have as few mental errors as possible. You can control your effort. So that starts in practice. The things we do in practice and the effort we give in practice, although we moderate that at times to take care of our players, is something that we believe will carry over into the game. So you can control your effort. You can control your emotions. Right? We need to focus on the team that we're playing, within the lines that we're playing, and the field that we're playing on. All the other stuff around it cannot impact your emotional makeup, right? And having an even keel approach to concentration, that you do not let your emotions feed into that, right? And move into that area that then becomes a distraction for you. So we want to keep an even keel with our emotions. We know it's an emotional game, but at the end of the day, you play with your heart and your head, right? So those are a few. There's a few others, but basically the things that really get you prepared for the game and help you carry that preparation throughout 4 quarters, is what we try to keep our players focused on. Everything else is a distraction.
Not being around the team, are your walkthroughs usually this brief? Like throughout the
It
year?
depends.
Not
Yeah,
being
it just
around?
depends. Yeah. Why? Was that a problem?
Oh no, it was kind of it was kind of nice.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's like, you know, they're tired of hearing from us, and it's like, you know, get them off their feet and let's go play the game.
How has this season prepared you best? You had the driving rain, you didn't have a stadium per se to play in, heard reports of cold showers after, no hot water after.
We did that on
games.
purpose.
Yeah, exactly. But all of that adversity, how has that prepared you for this moment? Has it had any bearing on it, or like, does it help you build for the obstacles you might face?
Well, they're
playing?
certainly related to the previous question. I mean, those are things that we had to learn to not focus on, right? Taking a cold shower after practice or after the game didn't have anything to do with playing the game. It doesn't have anything to do with your preparation the next day. Something you put up with. Big deal. Welcome to the game of life. You know, but we don't whine about stuff like that or make excuses. You know, it's because that's really all it is. And you know, we believe that if you are going to set up the environment for excuses, then what you've really done is you've set up a safety net for our players not to perform, right? Whether they realize that consciously or subconsciously, it doesn't matter. That's what you've done. It's like injuries. You know, everybody's asked me about injuries. You know, we don't care about the injuries. I mean, we care, but you know what I mean. It doesn't. If you go into a game or go into a week of preparation saying, "Oh, woe is us! Look at how many injuries we have." Well, what does that tell on the next guy? That you actually have on your roster, that you chose as a coaching staff to be on the roster, right? That needs to go and perform. You've given him an out and a safety net for non-performance. So we don't do that.
Kent, you're pretty familiar with Grey Cup week. Are the butterflies still there for you?
Of course, yeah. I anxious for the players, right? Anxious for and hoping that, you know, they will play a quality football game for them. For everything that they've been able to accomplish this year, it is about the players, right? This sport's about the players, and at least as it relates to coaching them, right? And so I'm anxious that they play a great football game, and then when the dust settles, we'll see what happens.